Sheila or others that I wanted to say thank you to. It meant so much to Uncle Richard that y'all would stop by and see him, and bring him food or just say hello. And I know you probably didn't realize how much it meant to him, but he would always tell me whenever you went by there that y'all had stopped by to see him, and it just made his day pass by faster. So thank y'all for every visit and all the love that you showed him. Sherry's not here, but I wanted to thank her because I know in her busy schedule she would stop by the hospital a lot of times and just say hey to him on her making her rounds. So that always meant a lot to me that she would care enough just to stop in and say hey. Paul LeBlanc, Diane Richardson, I don't think Diane's here right now, but Paul would stop by a lot of times also. Whatever he was doing, just to say how much he cared about him and just showed him love. So thank you, Paul. Diane had to leave, but she would also stop by and just make her love known to them too. Mr. Benton, Morgan, thank you for being there. And I know there's other deacons at the church that were always there for them also. I know he was at the hospital Saturday afternoon when I was there, and just showing his love for them and just his support and care. And Brother Eddie's always been there, Brother John, all of you guys. Like I said, I know I'm going to miss people, but thank y'all all from the bottom of our heart. It really meant a lot to us, and I know it meant a lot to them. So I've never in my whole life seen anybody age. I didn't age. It's just amazing how he doesn't have any wrinkles, very few gray hairs in his head. He just looks the same. When you look back on a bunch of pictures, you can't tell how old he is. And I've always joked about it and told him, I said, look, it's got to be those Hungarian genes. And I trade out some of my genes for yours because I want to have that youthful look forever too. And we'd always laugh about that. So he's just one of a kind, I have to say. I always remember him as a kid when we'd go visit, even until adulthood, and the other night we were even commenting about it at the hospital. He always would sit in his chair and wiggle his toes and play with his feet, and his slippers would fall off, and then he'd play with them, putting them back on. And he was even doing that the other night in the hospital. Crystal said, look at him just wiggling, trying to wiggle his toes. So that was just one of those things that I remember him doing forever. And I really never knew he had much of a voice, because when Aunt Alice was around, as y'all know, it was never a dull moment, and he just sat there and listened, and then she would always say, huh. She'd always call him huh. And he'd ever say, yeah, I guess, or whatever, just a man of few words, because she didn't have a chance. But he really was a talker once you got him one-on-one, or, later in life as Aunt Alice got to the point where she couldn't talk a whole bunch. But he was a talker, and what he said meant a lot of things, even though it was in a short phrase or whatever. It just meant it was important, whatever he was saying. And he was a jokester. I never really realized how much that he liked to tell little jokes and just make little funny comments. He didn't even have to try. Some of the things he would say would be so funny. We'd just kind of roll on the floor thinking, that came out of his mouth? My goodness. But some of my fondest memories are really the ones probably within the last couple of years. I really got to know him for who he was. Like I said before, Aunt Alice always kind of stole the show, and he was in the background. But my fondest memories would be recently whenever we would get together and we would spend the night, or I'd go out just for the day and just spend a lot of time with him. Crystal and I would have our gospel music going in the kitchen. Lisa would be there taking care of Aunt Alice. Gary would be around, Brian sometimes, and frying fish or whatever we would be doing. And here he'd come with his walker and his iPad. I want to come to the kitchen to see what y'all doing. And he would sit there playing on his iPad or on his phone, but he had one ear tuned in to what we were saying because he'd comment every now and then. But I really cherished those times that I really got to spend a lot of one-on-one time with him and just tell him how much I loved him. And we shared stories about his salvation, so I know that he was a believer. We shared some meals with, I'll call her Aunt Carol and Uncle Richard. They came over sometimes, and we just all had such a really wonderful time together, just showing how much we love each other. And that'll just be memories that I'll cherish the rest of my life. Things won't ever really be the same down George White Road. You know, it's like, I know we'll try to go and start cleaning out things and doing things, but it's just like whenever you think of their address in George White Road, it's like Aunt Alice and Uncle Richard are still going to be there, and they won't be. So it's just not going to be the same, but their memories will last forever in our minds, and we'll always cherish and love them. And I'll never forget them. I want to read a little note, and I won't go into all the details about how I got the note, but he doesn't write a lot of letters, and as y'all know, he was just not a man of a lot of words, but he sent this note to me. It's a picture of a couple little birds in a birdhouse. And I want to just read it to y'all, because when I read this letter, I just sobbed, because I couldn't believe that he would take the time to send this to me. And it says, "Hello, daughter. I am so glad you and your family accepted us as the family you never had growing up. Love you and your family very much. Your new dad," is what he wrote. So I'll never forget him and Aunt Alice. As long as I live, I'll cherish their memories and everything that they've done for me and my family. And I thank the Lord that I got an opportunity to go and be with him and the family. Saturday afternoon, I rode up around, I guess it was around 3 o'clock when I got there. And I think he recognized that I was there from my voice. He might have seen me, I don't know, but I think he knew I was there because he was opening his eyes trying to see who I was or what was going on. And I drove down around 3, and I stayed till about 6:15, drove back to Lafayette. I got home about 8, I think it was about 8:15, and I had my phone on the cabinet, and I told Rick, I said, "Uncle Richard just passed away," because Gary and Crystal had texted me or tried to call me. And I'm thinking, you know, God is so good, because I didn't really think that I would get to see him, because we didn't think he was going to last through the night. They were thinking that he would pass on, and God let him live long enough just for me. I know that sounds selfish, but just for me to go down and just tell him how much I loved him and whisper in his ear and just, "I'll see you again." You know, and I know we will, those of us who know Christ, we'll definitely see him again. So I just want to say thanks for everything that y'all have all done for me and my family. Thanks for being here today. I know it means a lot to everybody, and I do love them, and I'll always cherish everything that they've done for me. And that's all I have to say.